Oh, tried to trick you there. How's it going, folks? Welcome back to Run It By My Lawyer. I've had so many emails and texts, and I'm happy to say I have one short video that reached over 1 million views. That's a record for me. And so I'm excited, and I'm excited about all the comments I'm getting, and I'm trying to get back to everyone as fast as I can. All right. So today we're going to talk about the Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani's bail conditions. They are actually out on bail, and unlike the other indictments against Donald Trump, this one is very strict, the bail conditions. So we'll talk about that. I won't go over the case itself too much because I've had previous episodes. I'll put the links here in the comments. So if you want to get the actual case details, you can watch that. And today we're going to talk about kind of like the bail conditions, if it's constitutional, how it's going to be played out, things like that. And of course, at the very end,
a few dad jokes.
How did you like last week's, Mateo? Oh, come back, dude. Okay. Just only a couple this time, all right? This poor guy. All right, when I said dad jokes, he tried to get out of here. Okay. Only a couple today, all right? So we'll do that at the end. Thankfully, some people actually like my dad jokes. They've been commenting on that, okay? All right, so let's get into it. So, the short version of, if you want to see the episodes about this, it's this case against Donald Trump and Rudy Giuliani and Attorney Eastman. All of them have nothing to do with Donald Trump saying, the election was rigged. I think the election was rigged. It was rigged. It was, dead people voted, all that jazz. What it has to do with is that they tried, these group of folks, to get these fake electors to convene and draft documents saying, we certify that Donald Trump won the election in the state of Georgia, which he didn't. And that these fake electors would then send that to Congress, and then they were hoping that Congress would either count those fake votes, or that Mike Pence would count those fake votes, or that Mike Pence wouldn't certify the election based on these fake votes. And they did it in, they tried this in Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, states that had a very small margin. Okay, so in a criminal system in our country, there's the charge, or the indictment, the charges that the prosecutor files. And all those are allegations. So in this case, the prosecutor charged everything I said, they're all allegations, right? That Donald Trump, Rudy Giuliani, Eastman, and all these other Chesborough, that they kind of conspired to set up these fake electors to get together and cast these fake votes representing millions of people. So all of that is allegations. To get them a guilty verdict, that they have to convince a unanimous jury of that. So that's the case. So there's the allegations, then there's the trial. And in the middle is a whole cluster F of things, all right, in between those two. And the first of those many, many clusters is what I'm talking about right now. And that is, so theoretically, he's innocent. Everyone's innocent, right? Until there's a judgment of guilty. Now, in our system, a lot of people in between the time of the trial or the time of the allegations and the time of the trial, they'll flee the country or flee the state. Or back in the good old days, they'll just not show up and nobody will know where they are because there's no internet or tracking or anything like that. So they're always worried, because they're facing prison time, and not just in this case, but in other cases. So they're worried that people don't show up. So one concern is, wow, we better set some sort of system to ensure that they come back. And there's only two ways to do it: keep them in prison or until the time of the trial, or have them released on bail. And the bail would have some sort of conditions to it that will help ensure that they show up to the trial. So that's always one concern, that they don't show up. And then another concern is that they commit more crimes while they're out on bail or before their trial. So those are the two concerns. So we have to, in our criminal system, we have to address that. So the kind of the balance that has been struck, and then this system of bail, and it predates America. I mean, we got that system from the Brits, from the old British legal system. So the way that we've kind of struck the balance here is we keep innocent people in jail if they're so. The judge and the law is so concerned that that person is a danger to the community. So if the risk is that the person is a danger, so if the alleged crimes are really bad, if the prosecutor has, good evidence like from the outset to show that they could win a guilty verdict down the line, and then the court is so concerned that the person may commit a crime before the trial, then the judge could say no bail, like this person cannot, there's no bail for this person. And then if the judge is concerned, of a lesser extent of that, if it's like somebody that's had a few DUIs or one DUI, and then there's some concern of that, the judge could say, well, I'm going to, allow this person out on bail, but I'm going to, make higher conditions of bail. And then another way to kind of help assure that the person shows up is by doing what's called a cash bond. And that to me is it's just the most horrible and corrupt industry, asking for money as a condition of bail. And the reason why is it's kind of spurred this very, what I think, corrupt industry of bail bondsmen. And did you guys know that bail bondsmen, so if somebody gets a DUI or whatever, and then they have to make bail, they'll post, let's say the bail is $50,000. For somebody that's lived in America their whole life, they're not going to go anywhere, especially for, a small infraction. They're not going to ditch the planet or something, right? So they have to make a $50,000 bail. Now, the people, to do that, they would, maybe give a bail bondsman $5,000. And the bail bondsman gets $5,000 from that person. And this is the crazy part. The bail bondsman does not, and I repeat, does not need to put $50,000 with the court. They don't do anything. They go to the court and they basically say, we give you our word, our bond that this guy will show up. And then when he does show up to the trial or the case gets settled in some plea bargain, they just keep the $5,000 that guy paid them, and then they never paid anything. How is that possible? And then if the guy doesn't show up, then they may have to pay $50,000 to the state, and then that's where the bounty hunters come in. They'll maybe hire somebody to try to go find that guy. All right. So, but the unfortunate part is the people that can't afford that, they just don't have the money. They end up staying in jail for potentially a long time, even if their case is dismissed. And it's not like they get money back or they get some sort of compensation for, they'll just spend a few months in jail and then their case is dismissed because there's no evidence and nothing comes their way, right? And the other thing is that for some people, they could make bail if they own property or something. They could just give their own word basically to the government and get out on bail for free. All right. So anyway, I think that fair conditions, maybe a monitoring, if it's drug testing, if someone has like DUIs or something, or some sort of like drug activity, if they violate the bail conditions, then it's revoked. Things like that are fair. Anyway, all right. So the state of Georgia, unlike the federal government and unlike the state of New York, required a cash bail for Donald Trump. This is it. This is the bail conditions, and it's signed by the judge and the prosecutor and the attorneys for Donald Trump. So the first thing here is it's called a consent bond order for defendant Donald John Trump, and it says here that he has to make bail of $200,000. Now, why the heck? I think that is not necessary. In fact, I just think it's ridiculous that the state of Georgia, why do they want $200,000? It's, so Donald Trump could give them $200,000. He can give them his word, with some sort of bond, or he could hire a bail bondsman and pay that person $20,000. It's just not freaking needed. There's absolutely no reason. Are they thinking that Donald Trump is going to run away? It's like, where's he going to run to? Like, who's going to take him, right? I was thinking what they should do is they should say, here's $200,000 if you never come back, right? Not $200,000 and make sure you come back. Like, come on, So it doesn't, and I'm not just saying this, it doesn't matter if you like Trump or if you want to see him, under a garbage truck. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is it just shows the kind of the absurdity of our legal system that they're requiring $200,000 cash bond. Because can you imagine a situation where Donald Trump comes up with this detailed plan with his amigos, and that they have this detailed plan where he's going to escape the country and go into hiding and go somewhere nuts where nobody in the world is going to find him, and all of that's going to happen, and they have all of that planned out, and then they're like, but wait a minute, all those $20,000 with this bail, I'm not going to do it. Like, is that going to happen? Do you see what I'm trying to say? Like, that's not going to happen. So the whole thing is absurd. And this is repeated in our country millions of times. And like I've always said, my goal with running by my lawyers to kind of explain our legal system with these interesting cases. And Donald Trump, thank you. Now, I wish I could say that that's the only thing that is ludicrous about this bail. I wish I could say that. I can say that, and then as long as I follow it with, it's not. There's more. So the court has put restriction. Now, keep in mind, if Donald Trump violates what I'm about to say, then the judge in the state of Georgia, the judge that's overseeing this case is 34 years old. Like, isn't that, like, how is this happening? He's a kid, dang it. Okay, so anyway, so if the following conditions of bail are violated by Donald Trump, by Rudy Giuliani, by any other defendants, then that judge has the authority to bring them into jail and revoke their bail. And that is what happened in this Sam Bankman-Fried, this SBF guy. He was out on bail, and he violated the conditions of bail, the judge said, and then the judge in that case revoked the bail and ordered him to go to jail. So here's what Donald Trump cannot do. All right, first of all, the defendant shall appear in court. Another thing, I don't want to rant too much. Believe it or not, this is not a ranting show, all right? But why does Donald Trump have to physically appear? And they're going to, at least they said, and at least what they did with the other defendants, they're going to mugshot Donald Trump. Like, why? Is that because the theory of mugshots is so that they could identify somebody, and in case there's another crime or something, they could show where he is. Do we have enough pictures of Donald Trump? Right? Do we need one more? Anyway, okay. So, and then there's more. Ready? The defendant, Donald Trump, shall make no direct or indirect threat of any nature against any witness. So what the heck does that mean? So the court is saying if the court in its discretion thinks Donald Trump made a threat or a direct or an indirect threat against any witness, they could bring him into jail. What the heck does that mean? It's so vague, right? And that could just be him saying, this particular witness is lying, or this particular witness, is going to face his own consequences for saying something, or whatever it is. And that in itself, the court can bring him in to jail. Like, I can't believe I'm saying the former president going to jail, and possible next president going to jail in the state of Georgia. And then it states, so it cannot make any direct or indirect threat to any witness, including but not limited to. I want to stop there for a second. Did you know that when you say the word including, it already in that word states, but not limited to. And then you have a lot of lawyers that insist on writing including, comma, but not limited to, comma. And I don't understand why. Why do lawyers do that? Because lawyers suck. That's why. No, should we edit that part out or keep it? Are we going to keep it? Well, okay, but why? It's like me saying there's a lot of things in this room, including, but not limited to, this microphone, water, and pencil, right? Did I need to say, but not limited to? I could have just said there's a lot of things in this room, including a microphone, pencil, and water. Anyhow, all right. So that's one of the lawyers do a lot of things to annoy me, including, but not limited to, being too wordy. All right. So Donald Trump shall make no direct or indirect threat of any nature against any witness, including, but not limited to, the individuals designated in the indictment as unindicted co-conspirators, individual 1 through 30. So they list at least 30 witnesses that Donald Trump cannot make threats about. The defendant shall make no direct or indirect threat of any nature against any victim. Now, what does that mean? Now, why do I have to say it that way? What does that mean? What does that mean? Okay, who's the victim here? Isn't it the whole country? If he interfered with the national election, then the victim is the country, right? So what in this bail condition, now this is an important document because it's signed by the court, and the court has the authority to bring in Donald Trump to prison if this is violated. So what does this 34-year-old judge mean by Donald Trump shall make no direct or indirect threat of any nature against any victim? I have no idea, and I'm a freaking lawyer, and I have no idea what that means because I don't know who the victim is. That would have been nice if they had a victim including, but not limited to, and then the following people, right? That would have been nice, but they didn't. Okay. The defendant shall make no direct or indirect threat of any nature. Is there any, what does of any nature mean? Is there, how many different, okay. It doesn't matter. Oh, maybe no financial threat, no physical threat, no implied threat, whatever. Okay. The Donald Trump shall make no threat against the community or to any property in the community. All right. What community are they talking about? Right. And what does that mean? A threat against the property of the community? Are they saying something like maybe they don't want him to say, let's burn down the clock tower? What? I don't know. I don't know what it means. Right. So that is a very vague bail condition. And I just think this whole court is doing this wrong. If you want to put the former president of the United States in a Georgia prison, you better be careful and you better do everything properly. This is not the way to go. Okay. The above, this is crazy. The above shall include, but not limited to, posts on social media or reposts of posts made by another individual on social media. So, as we know about Donald Trump, he loves social media, and, that's his right, obviously. So this is saying that a threat on social media or a repost, there was this very good short movie called Have I Shared Too Much, written by Samir Acharya. And in that short film, I remember the guy saying, and one of the characters saying, if you can't beat it, retweet it, right? So here we have a, if he can't, I don't understand. He can't retweet something. Is that what a repost means? Right? He can't, isn't a repost a post? I mean, anyway, it doesn't matter. I understand. Don't get legal on me, Joe Samo. Okay. So, that you're basically saying, keep in mind that Donald Trump is running for president of the United States. And they're saying here that he cannot comment about this case. I bet you his opponents will comment about this case. So what is Donald Trump supposed to do? Not comment? And what is he supposed to do? He's running for president. Like, so if he says something like, I can't discuss this because of these bail conditions, somebody could consider that a threat, right? Like, or, like if someone says, what do you think? Can the state of Georgia, can they be fined for this ridiculous lawsuit, let's say? And then he says, I don't know. I can't discuss that right now. But theoretically, the way he says that, the judge could interpret that as a threat to the victim. Do you see what I'm saying? And that's possible. I mean, it is so vague. And a repost. So if Donald Trump just posts something or he forwards something, what if somebody just says, this case is ridiculous, or this case is overstepping its jurisdictional limits. Okay. And then Donald Trump, I agree. This case, there's no jurisdiction for this case. That would violate one of these conditions, at least the number, the fourth one I said, or the second one I said. All right, next. The defendant shall not communicate in any way, directly or indirectly, about the facts of this case with any person known to him to be a co-defendant in this case, except through his counsel. Why? So here you're saying that he can't even talk to these people. Like, there's 30 of them, including his own lawyers. Like Rudy Giuliani was his lawyer. That Eastman guy was his lawyer. And according to this, they can't talk to each other. The defendant shall not communicate in any way, directly or indirectly, about the facts of this case. Like, I don't understand why, because it's not uncommon that people, like if they would talk to each other, and but that's another one. And I just all right, the next one. The defendant shall not communicate in any way, directly or indirectly, about the facts of this case with any person known to him to be a witness in this case, except through legal counsel. That one, once again, what I don't get is, I could see if it's some sort of intimidation or something that's not proper, that he shouldn't do that. Like if he says to a witness, "Oh, you better say this," but to absolutely bar him from talking to a witness about the case, especially when we don't know who the witnesses are. And if you think about it, it's a national election that they're charging him with obstructing. And then everybody, let's say, in his circle voted. Do you see where I'm going with this? Isn't everybody a witness? Isn't Joe Samo a witness? I voted and I knew that my vote counted, and I knew I didn't see any, in my polling station, anything weird going on. So I'm a witness. Like, I wish the court would have given some more guidance in terms of who's the witnesses and who's not the witnesses. I kept my cell phone here because I'm curious if they released the let's see. I'm curious if they released Rudy Giuliani's mugshot. I want to go on record of saying that if they mugshot the president, I just think that would be. What do you guys think? It would be a cool T-shirt. Yeah, it would be. No. Don't get me wrong. It would be cool. It would be funny. There it is. Oh my God. I cannot believe what I'm seeing. This has happened like 20 minutes ago. Like while I was talking, this is Rudy Giuliani's mugshot. I don't know what to say. I don't know why it's necessary to have Rudy Giuliani mugshotted. In terms of having justice done, I don't understand it. And now it looks like if they do, well, they said they're going to mugshot the president. I think that the merits of this case are there. I think that what they did was wrong. And I've always said, as a lawyer, it's a lot of times there's two things going on here. There's the substantive issues and then the procedural issues. And you have to do both of them correctly in every case, especially if you're the state trying to prosecute federal officials like Donald Trump, the president. You have to do the substantive correctly and the procedural correctly. I think the substantive, they did it correctly. I think Fani Willis did a very good job in her indictment and her evidence showing how these folks like kind of got together and had these fake electors. Okay, awesome. Ding, that part was done. I think procedurally, this is a effing mess. And one of them is mugshotting these guys because they have a good point that they'll say is that is overkill in this particular case. And then I think they're going to have another good case in saying that these bail conditions are crazy. And if Donald Trump tweets anything or if he posts something on his thing, on his Truth Social, is that considered a tweet? It's not a tweet. It's just a post, right? By the way, I was suspended on Truth Social. Hey, can we do the newsflash thing? Joe Samo has been suspended from Truth Social for posting the podcast of Donald Trump's trial. Damn. So, talk about free speech, Mr. Trump. But it is okay. It is a private entity, Truth Social, so they are allowed to infringe on free speech because it's not the government. However, in this case, it's the government infringing on free speech. All right, Rudy Giuliani, this one's pretty funny. The defendant, Rudy Giuliani, shall report to pretrial supervision every 30 days. What are they worried about that guy doing? Like going to a strip club or something? Like, what are they worried about him doing that he has to report? And Rudy Giuliani also has to post bail of $150,000. Is that so he doesn't run away from the country? I think we should pay him to run away from the country. What do you think, Rudy Giuliani? Like, send him somewhere else and pay him. Whatever he wants, double. All right, the defendant, okay. The defendant shall appear in court. Okay. The defendant shall perform no act to intimidate any person known to him to be a co-defendant or witness. Rudy Giuliani's conditions were lighter. How do you pronounce it? Lighter.
Meteor. Take it easy.
Than Donald Trump's. The defendant shall not communicate in any way about the facts of this case with any co-defendant. The defendant shall not communicate in any way about the facts of this case with someone that may be a witness. And then it says here, the defendant, this is Rudy Giuliani, shall turn himself into Fulton County Jail by 12 noon Eastern, Friday, August 25th. He actually did it early. Today's August 23rd. So he did that one early. Okay. So just very quick, and this guy, just to show you how this mechanism works. So this guy, Samuel Bankman-Fried, also known as SBF, he swindled people out of tens and tens of millions of dollars, potentially a lot more. He started this BS cryptocurrency thing, and then everyone lost their money. He lied about this, lied about that. That guy, I think they should just like take him on an airplane, drop him into the ocean, because he's a effing loser. But anyway, okay, so he also was out on bail. And one of the things that it stated there was that he cannot intimidate other witnesses, right? Now, his ex-girlfriend, she was a member in the company and she had some important roles, and now she's a potential witness against him. She pleaded guilty. He allegedly leaked private messages from her diary. You know, I have been trying for months to steal Mateo's diary. You know what I'm saying? I want to steal it, hold him ransom. Okay, so apparently she kept a diary, and then the diary, he has access to it or something, and then all of a sudden, like some parts of it were leaked to the New York Times. And then as soon as that happened, the federal prosecutors brought him in and asked the judge to revoke his bail because he leaked this diary posts to the New York Times, and the New York Times had it, published it, and now it intimidated her that he did that. And then sure enough, the judge revoked the bail and sent him to jail. Did that rhyme? And here's a little picture of him as he was in the court hearing. after that. And it's a cartoon rendition because the federal judges don't allow cameras in the courtroom. I've complained about that before. Apparently, nobody cares about my complaints, right? I don't blame people. So the reason why I bring this up is that something like that, if Donald Trump tweets something or posts something or says something, and it's kind of a catch-22 because what's he supposed to do in his campaigning and when other people talk about this, or if he ever shows up to a debate and this comes up, what the heck is he supposed to do? I think because of the circumstances, I think that bail condition that he can't talk about this case or make what the judge could perceive as indirect threats to co-defendants or witnesses or, potential jurors, I think that bail condition is improper, and I think the bail should just be, just sign this and get the hell out of here, show up. If there's a trial, show up. That's all the bail needed. Donald Trump's not going to run away from the country, to save himself the $200,000 or to make sure he doesn't lose it or whatever. So that's my opinion. All right. Dad joke time, yes? All right, here, let's do some dad jokes. Da, 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 da. What do you call a fancy fish? Sophisticated. All right. What happens to a frog when she parks illegally? She gets towed. All right. What kind of car do eggs drive? A Volkswagen. All right. Oh, I actually like that one. The last one of the day. What happens when a snowman throws a tantrum? He has a meltdown. See you next week.